get her started. Well, welcome to the Hoggie Shuffle. This is going to be a podcast where we're going to go over anything football-related, NFL stuff. We want to talk about mainly the Hoggies. We want to talk about the offensive line. It's going to be our big push offensive, defensive line guys, and just mainly go over that. It's me and my brother here, me and my brother Robbie. I just wanted to go over and say, this is something we're doing together. He moved across the country a little bit. He's about 10 hours away from me now, and so it's something we're going to do together once a week, just weekly podcasts out. We just talk about football, have a good time. So get ready to listen, get ready to have fun, and have a good laugh along the way. Biggest thing I want to say as well, too, is please follow us we got Instagram, TikTok. I believe we're on Facebook, and I think that's it for right now. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Hoggie Shuffle.
Look us up. We're gonna be big.
So, first thing I wanted to bring up on my side is New Orleans Saints quarterback situation. Okay, so New Orleans Saints quarterback situation sits like this. Right now, they have Derek Carr. Okay, Carr only played 10 games last season. He finished with a 5-5 record as a starter. I mean, he threw for 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 picks. It's not too bad. The weird part is, he goes down, they lose 7 games in a row. Okay? They put in Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, and they went 0-7. And even missing set.
But they didn't go with Rattler out the gates.
No.
Right? I thought they should have went with Rattler out the gates. Like I'm a Derek Carr guy. He was my guy for a long time. But I think that Spencer Rattler, I was talking about him quite a bit last season. I still think he could be a really good quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, and honestly, I don't think he did terrible compared to seeing the situation he was in. But you look back and even when Derek Carr was in, he still finished top 10, missing 7 games in the season. He still finished in top 10, which is pretty crazy when you look at completion percentage, yards per attempt, and touchdowns to interception ratio.
I think he had 7 touchdowns in 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks.
It's crazy,
of the season.
Right? And I mean, as a guy like yourself, I don't mean to be a little fork in there, but I must piss you off a little bit seeing the success that he has at other teams as well.
Hey, when your guy leaves your team and he was as good to your team as Derek Carr was to the Raiders, you only want success from him. Does it hurt? It definitely hurts a little bit. Would we the Raiders be better with Derek Carr? I don't believe we would be better with Derek Carr.
I agree with you there. I feel like I've watched enough Raiders games with you myself where I kind of understand that part. I think that you guys got a situation there where a quarterback isn't really going to fix the mess you're in.
Well, and again, Derek Carr is on the later side of his career. I believe he's 34 years old, 35 years old. So I mean,
he's getting up there.
At that point, I mean, he's going to become. Let's be honest, he's going to become a backup if he doesn't watch himself. But I mean, the guy's made $300 million in his career. Like he doesn't need 100%. Any more money.
No. You know what? The reality is, in 10, 15 years, we're going to see the fruits of the labor. When we see their kids come up, when we got David and Derek Carr, all the little kids coming up from those guys, I mean, that's going to be huge.
Right.
And the reality is, most likely, like usual, they're dad has a great career. Typically, the kid kind of sucks. Dad has a mediocre career. Typically, the kid's pretty good. And that's just, historically speaking, that's how it always goes. Now, one thing I've been, seeing along, the stuff out there is they're thinking about possibly drafting a quarterback as well. So now they'll have 3 quarterbacks in the room plus drafting a quarterback. And I've heard the rumors. I know you're against this, but I've heard the rumors that sounds like Sanders is going to slip to the 9th pick and they're going to pick him up.
I don't know. Again, I'll be the first to say it. If Sanders slips to 6, that means that the running back would have went from Boise State, Rashad, and the Raiders will take Shedeur Sanders. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think you guys take Genty. I really do. I think he's generational talent at running back. And, based off the decision the Raiders front office typically makes, I really think that's the way they're going to go. But, I mean, I think you know a little better than I do when it comes to Raiders. So you definitely get the chip in that corner for sure. Now, here's a fun fact for you. I'm all about the fun facts. I'll tell you this. In the last 5 years, the Saints have drafted 4 quarterbacks with Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, Ian Brook, and Tommy Stevens. Combined record between those quarterbacks is 0-8. So, I don't know. If I'm the front office, I'm probably not drafting a quarterback. It seems like they kind of don't know what they're doing in the sense of drafting. And if I'm the GM in that situation, I'll be getting different people in those positions to find better quarterbacks in a sense and not have the same draft scout every year. To me, if they're keeping the same scouts, having the same people come in year after year after year, it's obviously not working.
Definitely not. I mean, you got to look at the fact. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what the percentage of quarterbacks drafted to quarterback success. I mean, I'd want to say it's under 10%.
It's got to be pretty low.
It's got to be quite low.
Let's just look it up here. Big thing, guys, obviously, hit us up in the DMs, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. We want to hear your opinions on this, too. We'll go over it next week. We'll hear what people are thinking. We'll hear what people are talking about, and we want to, talk about that as well.
Definitely. Let's keep it classy, keep it positive, and hit us back with some feedback.
It says, in the modern era, since 1967, 130 quarterbacks have been selected in the first round, Only 61 of those have won a playoff game as a starter. So we're looking at a 46.9%. So it's pretty much a coin toss. You draft a quarterback in the first round, you're flipping a coin and seeing what you get.
And that's for playoff wins?
That's for playoff wins as a starter. 58 of those quarterbacks have got Pro Bowl honors, just 44%.
Wow. So you're fit, you're let's be saying you're under 50% chance of getting
That's what I mean. Like you're good. Realistically, you need to flip a coin. I mean, at the end of the day, drafting a quarterback, and what's his name there? Smith. He always said the best, guy from the Panthers. You take a guy who's proven, a veteran player, versus a quarterback or any player that's coming up in the draft. It's a gamble compared to someone who's proven themselves in the league, proven themselves that they know what they're doing, that they can actually do it. Lean over to the Hoggie side of it a little bit. I want to talk about some offseason winners, offseason losers. So for me, I would say biggest offseason winner so far would be the Bears. Just the way they're really gearing up their trenches. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, they really want to make sure that Caleb Williams has the protection he needs as a quarterback. Because, I mean, they put all the money in that kid, and they want to see success. So big thing they did, they signed Drew Dalman, 3-year, $42 million deal, re-signed him, and then they traded for 2 more guards. So they got Joe Thuney, and that all they had to do was a 4th-round pick to get him. And then they traded for Jonah Jackson as well, too, from the Rams. I mean, it gives Caleb Williams a really solid interior trio with Dalman at center, Thuney at left guard, Jackson at right guard. I mean, that's protection at the end of the day. And then keeping it with the Hoggies, I'm a D-line coach as well, too. I like to talk about the defensive line guys. They also added edge rusher Deo. I'm not even going to butcher the last name pronunciation on that, to a 3-year, $45 million deal. And they signed D-tackle Grady Jarrett to a 3-year, $43.5 million.
Definitely.
And then the crazy part is they also have 3 picks in the top 41 in the draft. So, it's not like they're going to just be in a rebuild situation, the Bears. They're building a solid foundation to go out and win some solid games this year. And I think they're going to be a bit of a dogfight. I think they're going to do pretty well.
They did a lot of their building last year. It might not have amounted to much, but they did a lot of their building. They went through their, receiver room, and they went through their running back room, and they brought in guys that wanted to play football, guys that wanted to win. So, you look out for those Bears this year. Now, do I think they're going to win the division? Probably not. They're pretty tough to win that division.
Oh, for sure.
You got legendary Lambeau, Green Bay's, it's tough to always play Green Bay. Doesn't matter who's at the helm there. And then you got the super hot Lions. I don't see those super hot Lions going anywhere for the next couple of years. They're going to run that division.
And I mean, honestly, I really think the Lions have also had a strong offseason so far, too. They're making a lot of signings here, keeping their defense pretty intact. They want to make a good run again as well.
Definitely.
Again, let us know what you think. Tell me I'm wrong. I want to get on there. I'd love for someone to get on there and tell me I'm wrong. Educate me, get me even smarter. That's the whole thing. Getting learned here. But really, honestly, if I'm a Bears fan right now, which I never will be, but if I was, I'd be pretty excited for the future. I always want to see success when it comes to football. And I think, with the situation they're in with Caleb Williams, they're really trying to set themselves up for success.
Definitely. And anyway, Caleb Williams has everything you need as a quarterback to win games. He's smart.
100%.
He's fast. He moves. He can get out of the pocket, still throw the ball on the run. So when you got a guy like that, you got a winner.
100%. Now, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I want to change it from my winner to my offseason loser. So far,
I got a good one.
This is my offseason loser right now, the Texans. So here's the biggest reason why. So they have C.J. Stroud. What's he going into his 3rd or 4th season now?
Going into his third
season, right? And their idea was, let's just take the entire offensive line and just scoot them out and bring in a couple of old dudes who are coming off injuries. I mean, you let Laramie Tunsil go, trade him to Washington. You let Kanon Green go to the Eagles, and you just cut Shaq Mason? I mean, you're going to see Kenyon Green blocking for Saquon Barkley this year and just going to kick yourself in the butt every single time on that. I understand those guys, they did let in about 22 sacks last year. Not acceptable. That's too many sacks. But the idea is, train your guys up. You already have decent young dudes there. You can get in the draft, get more guys to come in. But to just cut your offensive line out, bring all these new guys in. They brought in Cam Robinson, He came coming off a torn ACL and meniscus, hasn't played a full season since 2020. You got Trent Brown, who is a massive vet, but he's also coming off a knee injury. And you got Lakin Tomlinson, who's durable, but his PFF grade in 24 dropped under 60 last year. So, I mean, it's not that great.
Yeah, but Trent Brown hasn't been good since he played for the Patriots the first time.
That's what I mean. Yes, he's a Super Bowl champion, but I mean, that's all he has. Just one chip he got with Brady.
That's it.
That's it. So, I mean, you realize they're also going to look in the draft. I've been reading rumors they're looking at Josh Cornley Jr., another tackle, if they want to get another offensive lineman in. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you're taking away possibly your franchise quarterback, and you're going to give him 2 rookies and a couple of injury-prone veterans? Like, that's risky. That's super risky to me.
That's real risky.
Right? And, I mean, like I said, I don't think they did the greatest last year. They were 27th in pass blocking. They were 23rd in sack pressure, 23rd in sack pressure. And Shroud was sacked 52 times and 11 more in the playoffs. Like, he was sacked a lot. I understand why you want to do an O-line overhaul and do those things. But all they did last year was promote Cole Popovich to O-line coach. And, yeah, he's got the Patriots pedigree. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the big question is it going to be a smart reset for them coming into 26, or is it going to completely tank their season and he's going to get sacked even more times now? Because now you have guys that have had no unity together. They never played together. Like, it takes time. As you know, you're an offensive line guy. I'm an 100%. Offensive line guy too. You know, you're the guys that you're playing with, the guys that you trust beside your brothers left and right. Those are the guys you're going to die for. And then you get traded to a team and now you're going, I don't think they're going to be as successful as they want to be. I think realistically, one of those 2 veterans are getting hurt within the first 3 weeks. That's almost a guarantee. And they're going to have to put one of those rookies into a spot that he's not ready for when they could have had younger guys in those spots, taking in positions, teaching the young guys up.
100%. 100%. Just trying to.
So I think the reality is, the Texans strip protection for their most valuable player in the hopes that the rookies can keep up. And I just think overall, I don't think that's the best idea. Like I said before in the last segment there, overall, veteran players, yes, can show you more stuff and they can be more proven. But when they're not proven and they're injury prone, what are you doing? You're just signing somebody to the vet minimum so you can have a guy in that spot.
Right.
Like, you're not protecting a quarterback. So, big thing, guys, we're going to be all on socials. I want to get some interactions here. I want to get some stuff. So, I mean, let us know. We want to talk about it. We want to hear what you're thinking. We want to do all those kind of things.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over mine. I'm going to pick the Denver Broncos because, everybody in the league seems to be doing something this offseason. The Denver Broncos seem to be doing absolutely nothing. They're signing Josh Reynolds, wide receiver from the Lions, to a 2-year deal for $14 million. I don't see where that's going to help the Denver Broncos. He's not a Marvin Mims Jr. He's not a Jerry Jeudy, and they let those guys go. So why him? Like, why are we thinking that guy's going to be the bearer of all good things? Like, I think the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton have taken a huge step back. They had a good season last year, but they had a good quarterback, and their quarterback, they drafted him, and that was a big win for them.
I'm just reading right now. It sounds like they just signed, where is it here? DJ Shark, sorry. I'm going to butcher that, Chark.
Right. I mean, they signed a couple guys. They got Matt Pert, at O-tackle. He's decent. Coming over from the Giants. He had an okay season, I think.
But again, Clark's coming off hip and groin injuries. I mean,
right.
He was essentially an afterthought. He's drawn 7 combined targets in his last 2 appearances.
Right, and same as that Matt Pert. He only started 7 of the Giants' last 43. He's been hurt ever since.
And that's what I'm talking about. You're getting in these guys who are injury-prone dudes. Like, you got to ask yourself as a GM or as a head coach, like, what is this guy actually going to produce for me this season? What is he actually going to do? To go out in the social media and say, hey, we signed this guy, we did this, we did that. Cool. It's great. It gets you clicks on your team and all that stuff. But, like, what is this guy actually going to bring to your program? Like, it's just, to me,
1,000%.
I think you're right. And I think really the Broncos are just not setting themselves up for success at all.
I don't think so. Again, like Bo Nix, I think Bo Nix is going to be a great quarterback. Do I see him as a generational talent? No. Do I see him winning a Super Bowl, not for the Broncos, but yeah, I think he'll be like a Flacco's. I mean, is there a possibility? Yeah, there's a possibility. It could be a good one, but I just don't see it. I don't see it going too far.
100%. Right? And speaking of that, I'm glad you actually brought that up. So I want to talk about that today as well, too. So we can look at the Browns quarterback carousel, and like you just said.
It's going to be gross.
Right? And honestly, it's pretty bad. The fact that they have Deshaun Watson coming off 2 Achilles surgeries, like they are absolutely like torch welded to that guy. They're
Right.
They're locked in for life. They're out there smoking angel dust. They're locked in for life. Okay.
But
and I think they really are smoking angel dust when they're picking up all these quarterbacks.
They've released a statement. I don't know if it was this week or last week. I seen it on the Score that they understand that they just need to cut their loss and move on from Deshaun Watson. And then all of a sudden he comes out in the media, oh no, my rehab's going good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good kind of thing, right? And, you don't go get Joe Flacco if you think Kenny Pickett's going to be your guy.
But that's the thing. I'm just reading right now, too. They were saying that Kenny Pickett plans to start for the Broncos.
Right.
His exact quote as of yesterday is, I'm not going there to hang out. But the thing is, you get a guy like Joe Flacco's coming in. He's got the experience. At the end of the day,
Browns.
To the Browns. Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said Broncos.
Oh, sorry. To the Browns with Joe Flacco. He's 40 years old, so he's bringing leadership, and he can huck a deep ball. Pickett can't really throw the deep ball. We've seen that obviously even last year with the Eagles. He's not a deep threat kind of quarterback. He's the kind of quarterback who's going to snap the ball and throw it into the dirt.
Well, here's the next question. Joe Flacco wins comeback player of the year for the Browns, and they just release him.
Yep.
Like, why?
You're telling Flacco's second half career of going to the Colts and the Browns is one of the best. It's the Geno Smith situation. You go to a different program, you're in somewhere for so long that people think you're just terrible, but then you go to an offense that's actually built around you, that actually works for you, and weird, you get to be successful. Like, why do you think you went to the Raiders with Geno Smith? The same exact idea. If you were a quarterback that had no success your entire career, you're successful with one coach, where are you going to go? You're going to follow wherever that coach goes.
Flacco's almost aged out, though. Like, what are we seeing for Flacco for age here?
He's 40. I told you that.
Yeah, it must be 40.
He's 40. Right? And so he is getting up there at the end of the day. But like you just said, comeback player of the year. I mean, the guy can win football games. He's a winning quarterback. He's the kind of guy that's going to go out there on a drive, and he's not going to win you majority games. He's not going to go, 14-0, 15-0. But the guy's he's an 8-8. He's a 9-7 kind of guy. Yeah. Like, that's reality, right? And you look at the Browns where they're at with it. I mean, from what I can tell, same thing talking about the draft again, it sounds like they're really leaning towards Travis Hunter if he doesn't get picked first overall, right? And everyone's saying that obviously Titans are grabbing Cam Ward first overall, so I mean, I get that for sure. And really, if they go with Hunter over Abdul Carter, right, they're leaning into playmakers instead of quarterback insurance.
Definitely.
Right? And that's the reality of what they're doing.
Let's be honest. The Browns should give up on drafting quarterbacks.
I agree.
Hey, I'm a Raiders fan. We haven't done much better in the world. But again, that's a tough game. And unless you got somebody that can go out and pick them, maybe get them after.
Right?
They seem to have much better success. But I mean, that's the reason that they've had 37 quarterbacks since 1999.
Oh, exactly. I mean,
right?
You always see those pictures, the memes at the Browns games where the guy's got the next jersey stashed out, and it's going and going and going and going. It's crazy that a team can just be that obtuse to what's going on and not realize, at least as an owner, like, give your head a shake. What are you doing?
37 quarterbacks since 1999, buddy. So 26 seasons, they've had 37 quarterbacks.
But the reality is, Cleveland's in the same boat that Philly's in, right?
That's almost an average of 2 quarterbacks a year.
When you look at what they used to be, you always hear it on the Kelsey podcast where they talk about how back in the day it used to be just like Philly, where there was one big area where you'd go to all the different sporting events, and now they're making new stadiums and stuff, and they're going in different areas of town and spreading it out and making it harder and harder to go to those games and be all together.
Right.
And just things like that. It's like you're not looking at the people. You're not helping the people out and doing what the people want and what your fans want,
Definitely.
Now, one thing I wanted to bring up, and then, we haven't really talked about just yet, is all these owners and all these teams wanted to ban the tush push. And I'll tell you, you think, oh, the Eagles do it, the Eagles do this. The reality is this. if you can show me one actual shred of data that anyone actually gets hurt doing this play, 100% we'll stop it. But
it's not about that.
No, but about that. The reality is people think that all the Eagles do is this stupid tush push, but there's 4 downs to get a first down. There's 4 chances. And if you can't stop us on the first 2 and we get to the 1 yard line, yeah, we're going to take a 1 yard tush push and get the first down. Like what team, if any team had the players the Eagles had, they do the same thing every fucking play. And that's the reality.
The sad part about it is if they try to take it away, we are going to end up losing quarterback being able to run up the middle of the field.
100%. That's all you really do is you would eliminate that part, right?
To get rid of the tush push, you'd have to get rid of any center sneak out there.
Yep.
Which means that no Josh Allen. Josh Allen's not going to be leaning over one side trying to get a yard, and you know what I mean? Like Lamar Jackson, same thing. That we'll get to a point where it's like, okay, quarterbacks can run outside the tackles, and that's it.
And unfortunately, I do see it getting that way. Like, I do see the owners lobbying in the next few years to ban the tush push. It's the reality of it. Whenever someone does something that's unrealistic, it gets banned. Look at Kareem dunking in college. I mean, the dude was so good, they banned dunking for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality. That's what happens. When you're so good at something, they don't like it, you know? I think it's a big thing. Now, I want to ask you this one. What do you think the Raiders are doing right now to make themselves more successful going into next season?
Defense, and defense. You know, our offense, and I love what Coach Carroll said. If you think we're turning this team around in 2-3 seasons to be a Super Bowl contender, you're nuts. So this is a total work down. We're not rebuilding, but it's a total work down. We got some key guys in here to make some plays happen, but, you know, we got to add a lot of players. You know, the sad reality of having 4 coaches in 3 seasons has been pretty tough. You know, that takes a toll on a team. Like, we're just sitting here crapping on the Browns. The Raiders are the same team. I bet they've had equally or more quarterbacks than the Browns. I like that, you know, their work. They signed Crosby, which was big. We needed to sign.
Huge. If you guys didn't sign Crosby, that would have been the mistake of a lifetime.
Right? He's now an assistant general manager of his college football team. I can't remember exactly what it is. Let me just pull that back up here. It was pretty crazy. I'll read it off to you guys.
That's super.
Because you didn't see it. Raiders Pro Bowl DN Max Crosby becomes Eastern Michigan football's assistant general manager. And from what I can understand, they've recruited him so that he can come in and evaluate draft guys, bring team culture back, bring that, you know, mentality that he has, that he created himself. You know, he didn't just get that from a team or from a coach. I mean, he had to battle his demons and figure out where he was going in life, and he did it. And he's been super successful.
100%. I mean, at the end of the day, like, to see a success story and to see a guy that, you know, battled addiction, did those things to get where he's at and be where he's at in the NFL, I mean, it's unheard of. It never happens. Right? You know.
Am I happy that we have Geno Smith and no Gardner Minshew? Yeah. You know,
I bet.
I wholeheartedly realize and understand that's why that coach got fired. Antonio Pierce, great coach. But when you can't see that your second-year rookie is better than Gardner Minshew and you're letting them share time, and it's just like, okay, so we go in and we lose with Minshew. Okay, well, we're paying him big bucks and we're not getting anything out of it. We go in and we lose or win with Aiden O'Connell. Well, what's the difference? There's no difference. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you obviously, I would rather lose with Aiden O'Connell than lose with Gardner Minshew, throwing pick after pick after pick.
100%. At least you know with Aiden O'Connell, he's a young guy. He's getting better. He's doing the right things. With Gardner Minshew, like, he's just going to go back and train in his van.
I'm pretty sure AOC's 6-0 as a starter, so.
Right?
You know.
And the kid can hock a deep ball. That's his oh, my God.
He did beat the Chiefs on Christmas.
Mary.
So he did put up 48 points against the Chargers. But how someone's going to say to me he's not a starting quarterback, I don't know.
Right.
You know, there's talks of they're going to try to trade him, but I mean, just like, what are you going to trade him for? A 50th round pick in the 40th round of the NFL draft? Like,
right,
he's proven nothing but that he's got a good arm and he can play some football. But we all know one thing about football. If it's not consistent, it doesn't matter.
Oh, 100%.
Best quarterback in the world. If he ain't consistent at winning games, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all. Kid could throw a dime, but if he can't keep in his head when you're down in a game, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Straight up.
Right? And that's any coaching thing. I mean, even if you look at the Eagles situation, signing some new players, signing some new guys, obviously, big focus, obviously, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I'm a big Eagles fan. You can see his background. He's a big Raiders fan. So majority speaking, those are the two teams we know the most about. This is the reality, for sure.
My team is garbage. I love them, but we working.
I mean, at the end of the day, I got to watch the Eagles win a second Super Bowl now in my lifetime. Every Cowboys fan out there has been crying for the last 20 years. Most Cowboys fans I know that never even seen their team win a playoff game. That would suck. I'm really glad I don't think part of that kind of franchise to be a fan of. I'm looking at you. You know who I'm talking about.
Toby! Yeah, no, but I tell you, as a fan, I think I really started becoming a Raiders fan right around that 1999-2000. Jerry Rice was a big push. Jerry Rice, for me, going to the Raiders really pushed me over the edge in the team that I was going to follow for the rest of my life. And I've been a loyal fan, as you can see, ever since. My wife hooks me up with all these sweet gifts. Yes, my wife.
There's a picture of Mom's house with the hat with the San Fran hat on, but
Totally. As I said, Jerry Rice was my favorite player. Like, he was the biggest deal when I was a kid. Like, if you're talking football and you're thinking about growing up in the 90s, there wasn't too many guys bigger than
I can
Jerry
tell you
Rice.
this. I don't have to look up the stats on this one. The dude played for 22 seasons and has the most receiving yards of all time. Second place is Larry Fitzgerald, and he's about 9,000 yards behind still. It's ridiculous. No one's ever catching that. You have to get a 1,000-yard receiving career every single season your entire career. Like, it's never going to happen again.
Like Travis Kelce besting Jerry Rice's record for most yards in playoffs. That's crazy.
That's insane.
That's absolutely nuts. But to think that it took that long since he stopped playing.
Right? For someone to do it?
And we're talking like the dynasty of the Patriots, 6 Super Bowls. 6 Super Bowls. Nobody even came close. Like, Gronk obviously probably came a little closer, but like, again, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
like again,
it's
huge. Are you going to break the touchdown record? Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's maybe. I'm pretty sure Gronk has that record.
And like, you go back to like, talking about our fan bases. Like myself, I became a fan. What, 08? I think we went to Florida 08 when you got me that Terrell Owens jersey.
I think it was a little earlier.
The 06 even?
Yeah, I think he was there 05, 06. Oh, let's just
so I'd have been, 10, 11 years old. So, I mean, for me, I've been an Eagles fan almost my entire life. I mean, ever since I've been watching football, I've been an Eagles fan. So I've got to watch the wins, the losses, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. My high school coach was a huge Giants fan. So, as a kid, ripping back and forth with him was always one of my favorite things to do, getting to just give him the gears. And it was always one of the best parts about being an Eagles fan is knowing that, we wear that shit proud in our chest. We rock the gear. We got it all. I got the hat there. I got the Super Bowl banner right there. I got it all, And I just think that, when you really support your team and you're part of that fan base, getting to see the wins means so much more.
Oh, yeah. Guaranteed. It was 04-05.
04-05.
Yeah,
right? 04-05. So it was a long time. That's 20 years. I've been an Eagles fan for 20 years.
Right.
A long time.
It's a long time.
Right. And, now we're, that I've grown up a little bit. I do go back, giving back coaching. Rob here, my brother, he got to coach me almost my entire career playing football, from when I was in the 3rd grade all the way to my senior season of high school. And, one of the best things I get to say about, our relationship is the fact that we got to get a championship at every level.
Right. It's one of my most proudest things about that whole situation is we didn't win every year, but I'll tell you what, we won the best we could win in every position that we were in at least once.
Exactly, and realistically, now giving back as a coach, I get to be part of that again too, with the Broncos and with St. Joe's, and it's a blast getting to see those kids get to experience the same things I got to experience and rip through those same feelings.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, man. Again, I loved playing football, and it was a great time in my life, and we didn't go too far, but coaching football after I was done high school football and a little bit of junior football, you know what? It gave me everything that I missed about the game. It gave me that opportunity to help young guys like yourself become 100%. Good men. Become good men, because at that point, it doesn't matter how great of football players they become. If they're not good people, by the time they get to where they're going, it don't matter.
For the viewers out there that just probably don't know us very well or anything like that, we do have about a 14-year age gap between the two of us.
Right.
Our parents, they had kids in the 80s, and
Same
for
parents.
some
Same
weird,
parents.
odd reason, they decided 14 years or 13 years later to have kids again.
Right.
And I'll never understand it. I'll never get it. I'm always going to bug my dad for the fact that he could be retired right now, living the good life, but he's stuck with me. That's on him.
I mean, I'm glad it happened. I mean, I probably wouldn't have my whole entire life if that didn't happen. So.
Yep, things are meant to be, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's the main kind of meat and potatoes, I guess, of our first podcast episode. You know, obviously coming into next week, I want to try and this should be episode come out on Wednesday. It should be live on Wednesday, possibly here. And we'll have it put out there, and it'll be recorded on the Monday, obviously. So if anything happens from today to Wednesday, don't roll us on the coals in the comments.
It's only Monday.
It's only Monday for us.
Right.
We're trying here, okay?
Hey, we're only armchair quarterbacks here, so don't take anything we say only with a grain of salt. We're just having fun.
At the end of the day, all we know about is the big boys. We know about the linemen. We and again, we want to focus this podcast on the linemen. We want to really talk about the big boys. We want to talk about the wins and the losses, and you just don't get enough love out there. And there's one big thing that they're trying to push for in the NFL right now, and Robbie can talk about it a little bit more. He's more knowledgeable on that end of it. But the award is coming out. That what's the guy from the Bengals there? Pushing it.
Oh, you're talking about the Guardian Award?
The Guardian Award, yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't. I don't believe it wasn't Whitworth that brought it to the league. I can't remember if it's a guy from the Titans. We'll talk about this more next podcast.
Yeah, we'll bring it up again.
Next sure I write that down. But I'll tell you one thing: if you're a lineman and you love linemen, because I'll tell you one thing, we're a breed by ourselves. Nobody is the same as a lineman. Linemen all get along because of the fact that we're all a special kind of smart.
We all understand the same struggle. We're fat.
It
sucks.
And not having an award, or we don't even get a stat. Every other people get a stat. We don't even get a stat. So not having an award
stats
for the most important guy on the field, most important 5 guys, because let's be honest, 1 is not good enough. You need 5, and they're the most important guys on the field. I'm sorry to say it. You say what you want. You can think that having 10 wide receivers that are great or having the best defense, but if you got a solid O-line, you get to go to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
100%. That's the reality. I mean, look at the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Look at the Patriots.
Look at the Patriots, exactly. Any good team worth a grain of salt has a great offensive line.
You make my words. The Patriots will have the most linemen ever inducted into the Hall of Fame because of all the Super Bowls they went to, because they drafted them.
Yep.
They were the whisperers of the drafting of the old linemen. Like Tom Brady was so good because it's Tom Brady, but he always had a great old line, always.
Like I'll die on the hill. I'm sorry, but I truly believe that the Eagles produced the best offensive lineman in the league, and that's all Coach Stoutland right there, Stoutland University. I mean, to take a dude like Jordan Mailata, who did not play a down of football in his entire life, and make him one of the best offensive linemen in the league is absolutely astronomical and unheard of. It's not a thing.
Totally.
And that's the reality.
It's not a thing. It wasn't a thing before, but it's becoming quite a thing.
Now it's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Now people see the fruits of the labor and they're like, oh, shoot, we can go and get these huge rugby stars that are fast as hell and they just can push and be monsters and offensive defensive linemen. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you get all the guys that we've drafted through our offensive line with Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson. You get all these guys, Kelsey. You get all these offensive linemen that we drafted through and that we pushed through and that are going to be Hall of Famers.
100%.
Like, you mark my words, and I'll say this just like you just said. Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Mailata, all going to be Hall of Famers.
Oh, hands down.
Singers, too. Christmas album, fire. If you haven't had a listen, Philly Specials. It's a great Christmas album.
It's acquired taste. It's
the only thing that plays in my house in the holidays, I'll tell you that.
If you like Adam Sandler, you'll like it. Now, did we touch on the Shedeur Sanders thing?
I think a little bit, but not overall. I mentioned it to you a little bit, and you didn't really. I tried serving it up to you. You let her simmer. But I'll talk about it again. From what I've been reading, it really sounds like Sanders is going to slip in the draft a little bit. That originally they were sounding like he was going to go first or second with Cam Ward. Then he got pushed behind Carter, and now it sounds like he's slipping a little even more.
I don't know. Again, like I said before, because we were talking things like can he throw the deep ball? That's my question. Yeah, he can throw the deep ball. But that's not the question that happens in the NFL.
No, majority of passes in the NFL are the short yard passes.
The questions that happens in the NFL is, can he throw the ball when he shouldn't?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, can he get to the place where he needs to be like Lamar Jackson? Because let's be honest, there's never been another Lamar Jackson.
No,
there's been
there
quarterbacks.
Never will be. Like
there's been quarterbacks that can run. There's been quarterbacks that can throw. There's been quarterbacks that can throw really good, and there's been quarterbacks that can run really good, and he can do both.
Yep.
You know what? He's like mixing Michael Vick and Drew Brees.
He's like, and again, being an Eagles fan, I'm always going to say this. I'm not even going to compare him to Mike Vick. I want to compare him more to the Randall Cunningham style, where, like you said, he can do it all.
Can he punt? I don't think so.
We never seen him, never had him do it, right? And I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it in the funny, I just mean in the sense of like, he's a bit taller. He's a bit of a dude. He can rip around. He can take those bigger hits. That's the big thing when you get the Lamar Jackson. Everyone told him he's a running back. He's never going to be a successful quarterback. He's never going to do all these things. And look at him. He's an MVP. He's a playoff winning quarterback. I mean, he's a guy who I truly believe in the next 5 years is going to get a chip.
Who did the Patriots draft over him?
So while he finds that out, that'll probably be the last thing we do for the podcast tonight here. Overall, guys, I really appreciate you listening to us. Just a couple of brothers out here just joshing around talking about football.
Sony Mitchell.
Sony Mitchell, yes. Yeah. Which, to be fair, he did decent for the Patriots.
He got a chip.
He was starting running back. It's hard to say no to that. But yeah, this is, follow us on socials at Hoggie Shuffle. We'll be on all of them. Look out for us. You're going to see some shorts. You're going to see some funny stuff. We're going to try and push it out there as much as we can. And, we really want to just keep talking about football. That's the whole idea, is that we can keep just talking and having fun.
You like football? You like fun? Hey, here we are. We're just going to be BSing, having a good time. Well, that concludes it. Hoggie's out. I wish I had a better outro so far, but I don't yet. It's coming. Okay, guys. Well, tune in next week. We'll be back on again and talking more football.